Yes.
So Max misses weight, and now you're looking for Sean Shelby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally in the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was they were kind of like there was a bunch of 55ers. Anthony Pettis was on that card. Chiesa was on that card, but he got kind of no one really knew what the hell was going on. They didn't know, is he gonna fight? At the time, I think he was ranked ahead of me, so he might have got the fight, but then the cut, he was out. Anthony Pettis, he was at some whatever happened. I think he asked for too much money. You know what I mean? So he kind of like priced himself out of the fight. And then I went down there and I saw Sean Shelby from across the hotel, and I was like, "Oh, Shelby, I'm the guy." You know, I was just yelling at him. At that time, we kind of had a little we weren't getting along too well, me and him.
You're like, let's just bury the hat shit.
Yeah, exactly. And he put his head down and he was like, "Oh, get this guy away from me," you know. But then they gave me the call. They told me to come down, and they gave me the fight. And I didn't sleep. I slept maybe like 2 hours that night. So the night before that was the weigh-in. You don't really sleep. I don't really sleep the night before because I'm sucked out. You know, you don't really get a good night's sleep.
Because like nerves, or because
no, just because you're so hungry, your stomach's like you're dehydrated. A lot of guys, they have trouble sleeping.
I didn't know that
the night before the weigh-ins. It's pretty
Oh, so 2 nights before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the night. Yeah, the night. Yeah, 2 nights.
How's that compared to the night before?
Then the night before, usually you're full. You have a full stomach. You know, you just ate. You just replenish, so you get a good night's sleep.
Okay.
But I was so wired.
Just like on the excitement.
Yeah, I
remember that day very vividly. If everyone talked about Al's fighting tomorrow, I'm like, everyone was like, "What the
crazy?"
Fuck? Yeah,
crazy. But my adrenaline just carried me through. I didn't, I was wide awake. I barely slept, the night before and that night. But I was just like wired. I was, ready to go. I've been training for 3 rounds.
Yes, right now it's a 5-round
against
fight.
A striker. Now it's a
3 rounds for a striker, but you train for. You got 5 rounds against the best grappler ever. Maybe.
Yeah.
in UFC.
So I was just like, we're going in there with what we got. I didn't really watch too much tape. I didn't really, I had watched all his fights before that.
You knew what he was going to try to do. That's the same thing to everybody.
Yeah.
Take you down, wrap the legs up, push you against the cage.
Yeah. And I was in a good mental spot. I was excited. I was like, I'm going in there and I'm just gonna freaking give him hell. I'm gonna go forward. And right off the bat, I went right after him. He got the takedowns in the first 2 rounds, and that kind of wore me a little bit. Just being up against the cage and trying to push myself up, I kind of burned my arms out a little bit.
But you went into that fight seemingly pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like
you didn't look afraid. That's the thing everyone was kind of looking for. You didn't look it at all.
No, definitely not. I was not. I was aware of his, his strengths, and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to go forward. I didn't want to get put against the cage, which I ended up getting. When he got the takedowns, it was against the cage.
Now, what is that? So he did I forget the particulars of the takedowns. He had you against the cage in the clinch.
Yeah.
And then got you to the ground?
Yeah. The first takedown he kind of shot in from the outside and got a single leg, and he was just like holding on to it, which usually I can just slip my leg out. But it was in the beginning of the round. We were dry.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, and that's how he ended up getting that first takedown. Really not too he kind of dove in and was just hanging on to the lower part of my leg, and kind of not so much of a traditional I wasn't prepared for that. I hadn't seen him do that before. So that was something that kind of surprised me. More of I would say not like amateurish, but definitely not like a high level
move.
Yeah. But just the strength that he had to just hold that leg.
It seems like he just doesn't let go once he has a hold of it.
Yeah.
What's it like? So then the second takedown is when he actually had more control of you on the ground?
Well, he got me down with the first one too and controlled me pretty well.
What's it like being in the grasp of Khabib against the fence? Like, is it something that you've never? Is it so superior to anything else you've ever felt before? Was it like out of the world different, or was it just the same as you always did, but his technique is just so
He's
clean?
Definitely really strong. Definitely good at using his weight the right way. You know, he feels like a ton of bricks on top of you. He's definitely um, a master of control. And against the cage, he's really good at trips. He's got like his uh, he'll kind of funnel you into where he knows. You know, he'll get you to step one way and then he'll sweep the leg out inside trip or outside the other way. So he's very good with that, and that's something that that's very unique. That's not something cage wrestling is kind of you know, it's a unique skill that he's really mastered. So
Seems like it.
yeah,
But it didn't feel like out of this world different, the experience of him. Like, you know, when you're in the, I'm just trying to imagine what it's like, because I'm sure you've been in that position 1,000 times. You've gone through, you've wrestled your whole life, you've seen every kind of wrestling, you've seen an in a cage, every kind of grappling, you've been doing jiu-jitsu for over a decade. But when he's in control of that situation, is it completely alien to you? Is it completely different?
uh the way he chained his trips and takedowns, it's like he's been there a million times and he knows exactly what he's doing. If he goes for an inside trip and you step this way, he already knows where he's going next. You know,
It seems like he almost has like a, from what you describe it, like a jiu-jitsu mentality towards the wrestling and the trips.
definitely.
Like, you know how they in jiu-jitsu they give you limited options until they get you exactly where you're going to want to go next, and he kind of does that before he gets you to the ground. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, yep. And he goes 100% for all the take. Like he's going for it. A lot of times the guys will be against the cage and they don't want to expend too much energy. You know, they'll go for that initial takedown, and then if you defend it, maybe they'll kind of just like hold you and stay there.
He's committed.
He's committed to the first one. He's committed to the second one, and in his mind, he's getting that takedown. And there's no way, he's just going, and yeah, you don't want to sit against the cage against that guy at all. You know, so
I remember watching the fight and thinking like, "Fuck, this is over" when he got you down. And I think that a ton of people were incredibly surprised that you survived that. First round survival seems to be something that's very common with you. No matter what,
yeah,
you get through it. And the fact that you went all 5 rounds, went the distance, I don't think anybody saw that. I cannot imagine what the line was for going the distance. And you showed again like that warrior heart, like people just don't possess. I mean, that was incredibly impressive.
yeah. I mean, that was just the years of training.
But you did things that I almost see other people doing.
Yeah.
Like it seems like, and then after going into like round 3 and 4, you started, blocking his takedown attempts.
Yeah.
Which was like I remember watching that. Everyone's like, I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
And then you got him on the feet a little bit. You were sparring. You were exchanging blows with him, and we were just like, holy fuck, he's in this to win this. Like he's going for it.
Yeah, I went for it, man. I definitely went for it. Like I said, I got a little. He definitely wore my arms a little bit, so the punches were coming a little slower. I was definitely a little slow. He had a good jab. People underestimate his stand up looks a little maybe like
Amateurish.
Yeah, I guess you could say it from the outside looking in, but it's the way he holds his head back, he'll move his head back but he's definitely thinking back now, there's a million. I'm like, I'm like, oh, I should have done this. I should have just kicked the crap out of his leg. I could have done this and that.
That was almost the last fight. The almost, that seems to be the only. Yeah, it seems to be the only thing. I feel like if Gaethje got a few more leg kicks in on him, he might have changed that fight.
Yeah.
Then he got that takedown and it was a wrap. But
you don't want to kick him too much.
You leave one foot open, that's it. Yeah,
you get taken down.
And that's what also I'm sure helps the stand up is that everybody's 1,000% focused on when's he going to shoot, when's he going to shoot, when's he going to shoot. Yeah. So I feel like Khabib's stand up game gets a couple levels up because everyone's so focused on don't get taken down, don't get taken down. That leaves you open for maybe striking that you wouldn't normally be hit with.
100%. Like Conor, that's how he dropped Conor. He kind of looked low, Conor, and then boom, he came right over the top.
He impressed me with that too. Against Conor, he dropped him.
His stand up's good. Khabib, and he's getting better. He's getting better and better. But his stand up's definitely it's like a little different. Not traditional kickboxing style. He's got his own real style, and it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. He's got a good jab. Jabbed the crap out of me.
Do you think he'll be beat if he comes back?
I don't know, man. That's no
one's cracked that code yet.
Yeah, no one's really. It's like.
But I would say, I think in his fights against anyone who's worth talking about, you probably have the most impressive outing against him.
No, I appreciate that. It was
who would be? I mean, maybe Conor would be second, but he didn't finish the fights. How could you even say that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who else has even gone the distance?
Yeah, I mean Conor definitely. He was
dominated Chandler, dominated Gaethje. Not Michael Chandler. Michael Johnson.
Yeah. I mean Johnson had maybe a flurry that.
In the first round, he hit him once.
He hit him with like a little flurry
and like stunned him.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was like he was literally beating him up and telling him to quit.
Yeah.
Like, it was some scary shit.
Yeah.
And so you went into that when you, for the record, when you requested for the fight, that had already happened.
What's that?
That fight where he was beating someone up and talking to Dana and telling him to quit.
Yeah.
So this guy asked for a fight against a guy who was literally holding down another top-ranked UFC fighter in the entire world, holding him down and saying, "You must quit. This is my belt. You'll know it. You must quit. Dana, I need the title shot." Beating him as he's doing it, as he's talking, half looking at the guy he's beating up on the ground who's curled up and talking shit while asking the president of the UFC for a title match at the same time.
Give me your chicken. Give me your chicken.
You must. I don't want to hurt you.
It is funny, man. Yeah, but yeah.
And it was on the anniversary of the Cerro win, wasn't it?
I think it was.
It was something crazy. I remember you did before. It was like the stars had aligned perfectly. It was like the 15-year anniversary of when he upset George St. Pierre. And then he's your coach. Yep. And I remember being like, that would be so fucking dope.
Yeah, man. You know, that was the opportunity of a lifetime to go in there and really had nothing to lose.
In Barclays.
Yeah, I had nothing to lose.
That's got to be the best loss ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's you never want to lose, but
if you have to lose,
if you can,
that's how you do
gotta
it.
lose, and you can take away from it, taking it on short notice against the best guy in the world, and
hold your own.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, it gave me confidence.
You made Long Island proud.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for real.
It's when it comes down to it, that's like the most important thing for me. Really, is like I go in there and just you know, show where I'm from, and
it's one of the best parts of UFC for me as a fan is because you get to almost every fucking card. It's somebody that lives 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
That I could have gone to high school with. Yep. You know what I mean? My parents moved here from Brooklyn, from Queens, and we picked Belmore. Like, they didn't know the towns. They could just as easily gone to Toronto. We could have been in the same fucking class. Now this guy's in the Barclays fighting Khabib. Did they give you, was it a title shot?
Technically it wasn't. So I had to, when I weighed in, I was fighting Felder in a regular.
Oh, it was the half pound thing?
So it was like 0.2, you know?
So technically you didn't make it.
So technically I didn't make championship weight.
But you could have probably made that had you known. 0.2 pounds?
If I would have just taken my underwear off. Yeah, the underwear weighs 0.2. So that's actually what it was. So when they called me, they told me to bring my underwear down. They were going to weigh me without my underwear.
Like tear it like you do.
Yeah, exactly. So they were going to weigh me with my underwear on, then they weighed me without it. And actually, no, they put it on the scale and it weighed 0.2. That's what it was. And I was like, yeah, see, I made the weight. I weighed in with this underwear, like bring the exact underwear that you wore on.
That's so funny.
And I was talking to Ray, and I put it on the scale, and on one scale it was 0.2, and then on the other scale it didn't register. It didn't. It didn't.
Wet it first, and it go down.
So that's what I was thinking. I was like, should I just like dampen it a little bit and say maybe I had I don't know. He was like, nah, just it'll be all right. I think you got. He pretty much said it. I think you got this fight. They're calling you to bring your underwear down. It sounds like they want it to be you, New Yorker in Brooklyn. It had it just
they make you come down with your underwear. They better fucking give you the fight.
To
wear your underwear. That's fucking funny. What a fucking experience. That was amazing. Yeah, I was there. I remember that very vividly. I remember parking a couple blocks away and walking up. Me and my buddy Gene went. And what a fucking day, man.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Wild stuff. It's just it's a story for
some of your grandkids are gonna fucking tell about it. And then the counterpart too, like that whole experience, something that you're a part of. You're cemented in history with those.
Yep.
100%.
It's crazy stuff.